Welcome to XIO Voice. Continuing from the previous episode 146. Sticky fresh blood was scattered on the stone fragments beside the mountain stream. A dense bloody scent was emitted. Numerous ice-cold corpses had collapsed in a mess beside the stone fragments. Everything in this place was quiet. Only a bloody scent that refused to disappear lingered, indicating that an intense battle had occurred here earlier. The silence in this place continued for a long time. Only then was it broken by the many sounds of rushing wind that suddenly appeared in the sky. Their expressions changed suddenly when they discovered the corpses on the ground. An elderly figure slowly landed on an enormous rock. From the looks of his appearance, he was that elder from the Ice River Valley who had been guarding the entrance to the fallen god stream. The Ice River Valley elder stopped and looked on with shock at the ground full of bodies. With a twist of his body, he appeared behind a large stone and stared unbelieving at 3 corpses before him. A couple seconds later, he took in a deep breath. Elder Bing Xian, an Ice River Valley's disciple with a similarly pale white face, landed beside the old man. He swallowed a mouthful of saliva and softly said, "All the corpses of the elites from the Ice River Valley, who had headed to the fallen god stream to search for the woeful poison body, are here. They include Bing Fu and the other 2 elders." The elder, who was called Bing Xian, involuntarily shut his eyes. His eyes were already murky when he opened them once again. "Carry all the corpses back. I want to return to the Ice River Valley immediately." Bing Xian turned around and left after speaking. His expression appeared unusually gloomy. The disciple from the Ice River Valley nodded. He looked at the corpses of the 3 old men and a chill involuntarily rose within his heart. These are 3 expert Dozongs. Who possessed such a frightening strength to kill all of them? Although Bing Xian did not know who the murderer was, he knew that this pill region might well cease to be calm in the future. With the strength of the Ice River Valley, it would definitely not sit back and do nothing in the face of 3 of its elders being killed. While these Ice River Valley's disciples were dealing with the messy situation, Xiao Yan was gently placing the little fairy doctor down in a secret mountain cave in the deepest parts of this fallen god stream, far from the mountain stream. He took out a moonlight stone and shot it into the wall of the cave. A gentle light immediately scattered down, expelling the darkness within the cave. Xin Lan stood beside the little fairy doctor. She hurriedly took out some warm fur from her storage ring when she saw her pale face. After which, she placed it on the ground and softly said, "Little fairy doctor Jia Jia, rest first." The little fairy doctor smiled and nodded to Xin Lan. She sat down on the warm fur before lifting her eyes to look at Xiao Yan by the side. She appeared to have recalled something as she suddenly said, "It has been less than a year, but you have broken through to the Dozong class. In that case, have you resolved the demon poison spot in your body?" Xiao Yan involuntarily and helplessly smiled when he heard this. He said, "Now is not the time to bother about that demon poison spot. You should take care of your body fist." The little fairy doctor held her cheeks with her hands. She blinked her curly eyelashes. Her voice appeared extremely soft due to her weak tone. "I'm still all right. It will be fine if I rest for a period of time." Xiao Yan understood the little fairy doctor's character extremely well. He ignored her words, squatted down, and grabbed the little fairy doctor's snow-white hand. A thread of spiritual strength was carefully transmitted into her body. It was only slowly withdrawn after a careful examination. Xiao Yan's expression was a little ugly when he withdrew his spiritual strength. At this moment, the situation in the little fairy doctor's body was extremely terrible. Quite a number of places within her were seriously injured. Moreover, the thing that caused Xiao Yan's heart to sink was that so-called Ice Zune force. He was unable to detect where it was. However, he could vaguely sense that the Ice Zune force hidden in little fairy doctor's body was emitting an ice-cold temperature, gradually freezing the blood and veins in the little fairy doctor's body. "Xin Lan, do you know about the Ice River Valley Ice Zune force?" Xiao Yan turned his head, looked at Xin Lan, and asked. Xin Lan mused for a moment after hearing his question. After which, she replied, "Based on what I know, this Ice Zune force is a unique Do-Chi that the Ice River Valley possesses. Moreover, only an expert Dozong will be able to practice and form a tiny amount of it. However, if this Ice Zune force is inserted into the opponent's body when exchanging blow, it would cause the situation to become extremely troublesome for the opponent. Therefore, quite a number of experts specifically defend against the Ice Zune force when fighting against the people from the Ice River Valley, Even I am uncertain about the method to remove it. Xiao Yan slightly frowned. He looked at the pale white face of the little fairy doctor and involuntarily felt a heartache. His hand gently fondled her long, snow-white hair. He must get rid of this ice Soon force as soon as possible. Otherwise, the little fairy doctor would never be able to recover from her injuries. This ice Soon force is indeed strange and unique. However, it is not something that only the Ice River Valley's Valley Chief could remove, as Bing Fu had mentioned. Xiao Yan once again inserted his spiritual strength into the little fairy doctor's body. He sensed the uniqueness of the ice Soon force, and he slowly opened his eyes. He knit his eyebrows and fell deep into thought. This continued for half an hour before he relaxed his tight frown. He waved his hand and a wooden box appeared in the mountain cave. With a flick of his finger, some water that he had prepared in his storage ring flowed out and filled the wooden tub. After doing all this, Xiao Yan clenched his hand and a cluster of jade-green flames surged out. His finger was gently flicked and many medicinal ingredients rushed out of his storage ring. After which, they were inserted into the flame and swiftly vaporized, transforming into a somewhat bright red powders and liquids. After having thrown all these powders and liquids into the tub, the clear water within immediately transformed into a bright red color. Moreover, there were still water bubbles rising on the surface, causing it to appear as though it was boiling. The clear water within the wooden tub was immediately filled with a hot fire affinity energy following the many powders and liquids that were poured in. This fire affinity energy was extremely dense. However, it was strangely gentle. Xin Lan, remove the little fairy doctor clothes and help her into the tub. Xiao Yan suddenly turned around after throwing in the final medicinal ingredient before speaking in a faint voice. Xin Lan and the little fairy doctor were startled when they heard this. An alluring bright redness immediately surged onto the little fairy doctor's pale white face. Xin Lan's eyes exchanged looks with the little fairy doctor. Only after that did she move gently and walk to the little fairy doctor's side. After which, Xin Lu gently removed her clothes even though the little fairy doctor's bright red peach blossom face was clearly visible. After the removal of her clothes, one could see her perfect white jade-like smooth body revealed in this ice-cold air. Splash! Xiao Yan let out a soft sigh of relief after hearing the slight sound of someone entering the water. He turned around and saw the little fairy doctor curling herself up in the wooden tub. The pretty face, that was revealed over the surface of the water, was an alluring bashful red. Absorb the energy inside and circulate it around your body. It might be a little pain, but it will be fine if you endure it a little. Xiao Yan softly instructed. After which, he flicked his 10 fingers gently and 10 wisps of jade-green flames suddenly shot out. After which, they emitted kai sounds as they entered the wooden tub like jade-green water snakes. Burble burble. The surface of the water appeared to be boiling as it repeatedly emitted hundreds of bubbles following the entry of the glazed lotus heart flame into the wooden tub. The little fairy doctor, who was soaking within it, emitted a groan from her throat. The boiling hot feeling caused her to feel as though she was in a sea of flames. Although it will be a little painful, the heavenly flame will allow the medicinal strength to enter your body in an even more perfect manner. At the same time, it will also suppress the ice Soon force from spreading. Xiao Yan hurriedly explained when he saw the little fairy doctor tightly frowning. The little fairy doctor tightly bit her lower red lip with the back of her teeth. She nodded and formed a training seal with her hands under the water. After which, she endured the boiling hot feeling and swiftly absorbed the dense fire affinity medicinal strength that was within the wooden basin. The water within the wooden basin gradually formed a whirlpool under the little fairy doctor's absorption. Numerous wisps of red-colored energy repeatedly surged into the little fairy doctor's body at a speed visible to the naked eye. Following the bright red energy entering the little fairy doctor's body, her pale white face gradually turned red. Strangely, an extremely icy cold vapor was being emitted from one side while a faint red-colored, hot vapor was being emitted on the other side. At a glance, the entire situation was exceptionally strange. It is really effective. Xin Lan by the side joyfully exclaimed after seeing this scene. Xiao Yan sighed in relief within his heart. It was fortunate that there was not much ice Soon force within the little fairy doctor's body. Otherwise, even if he had a method that could work, it was likely impossible to completely remove the ice Soon force without at least 10 days or half a month. Xin Lan, you have a better understanding of the pill region. Therefore, I wish to ask you for help. Xiao Yan turned his head, looked at Xin Lan, and spoke in a deep voice after seeing that the ice Zune force in the little fairy doctor's body was gradually being removed. Yes, Big Brother Xiao Yan, please tell me what to do. Leave this fallen god stream and help me gather all of these medicinal ingredients. Xiao Yan took out a piece of white paper from his storage ring. The names of some medicinal ingredients were written on it. All of them were the medicinal ingredients he needed to help Tian Huo Zun Jie refine a body. He had already killed many people from the Ice River Valley. It was likely that he had formed a death feud with them. Therefore, Xiao Yan needed to be prepared. Xin Lan glanced at the white paper after receiving it. She involuntarily became speechless. The names of the medicinal ingredients that were written on it were some she had never even heard of. However, she still nodded and said, "Big Brother Xiao Yan, please be reassured that if I fail to gather all of them, I will return to the clan and take them for you." Xiao Yan quietly nodded. He flicked his finger and the earth demon puppet flashed and appeared. "It will protect you during this trip. However, it is best that you place some clothing over it before leaving the fallen god stream in order to avoid attention." Xin Lan solemnly nodded. She could guess the importance of this matter to Xiao Yan and did not stay for long. After carefully storing the white paper into her storage ring, she swiftly walked out of the cave. The earth demon puppet followed close behind her. Xiao Yan withdrew his gaze after watching Xin Lan disappear from the cave's exit. He threw his eyes back to the little fairy doctor in the wooden tub. A cold glint flashed across his eyes. Ice River Valley. This matter will not be resolved easily.